What is going on, YouTube? It's your boy Spanko, and today, before we get into this video, let me just say that I'm sorry that I don't have a face cam. I'm actually just studying for exams right now, so my desk is all over the place. I don't have the setup ready, so you guys are going to see a little version of me right over here on my screen, or on your screen, I should say, just so you guys can see this handsome face while you guys watch this deck profile and I go through it. But if you guys haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like this video for more epic Yu-Gi-Oh content, as well as these post Banlist deck profiles. Now I'm gonna say PK I'll also update when the new support is released, but for now, post Banlist September 2020, this is a list that we're working with. And if you guys haven't already, check out my social medias. Everything is going to be linked in the description below, as well as Tony has finally started uploading on his YouTube channel. I'll put his link in the description below as well. So let's get right into it. So I'm playing triple PK Silent Boots, Phantom Knights of Ancient Cloaks, as well as 2 Ragged Gloves. So 3, 3, and 2. I think this ratio is fine. I don't want to play 3 Ragged Gloves. I think 2 is just a perfect number. There's not a lot of times where I want to send it to the graveyard. Like, you usually use it as an extender, or not an extender I should say, but something to send like one of your traps to the graveyard so that you can summon back another PK from your graveyard. But that's really all that it's good for. So to be honest, these 2 are better at 3. This you don't mind drawing because it's a free special summon if you have another PK on the board, which if you guys like can't see from the deck profile already, everything kind of goes to turboing out Isolde and Bardiche. So these help you obviously do that, and they're all just darks. Armageddon Knight as well as the Malicious. This is all I'm playing for the Isolde package pretty much, and the reason for that is, one, they're both like dark monsters, or all 3 of them technically, but they're all dark monsters for the Bardiche play, and obviously Malicious is a really good extender. Armageddon Knight is obviously a really good card. Most of the time dump some Malicious. If for some reason you have Malicious in your hand, then you can dump any other like PK monster. Most likely you're not going to really dump any of these because these are all extenders, so you're just going to pretty much be dumping Malicious or any of the PK monsters. But I just thought this engine was really good. It just helps you extend your boards a little bit more. And now of course, yes, you have to play the brick equip spells, but it's okay because you are playing 50 cards in the main deck, as you guys can see here, and that's why I decided to play 50, so that I can minimize the chance of drawing the equips, but also minimize the chance of drawing the Dragoons package right over here. So then I am playing also the danger package, or a small danger package, triple Mothman, 1 Jackalope, and 1 Tsuchinoko. Originally I saw people playing just 1 Tsuchinoko and 1 Jackalope, but I'm like, that's kind of awkward, because if you draw the Tsuchinoko and like let's say later you draw the Jackalope, you don't really have a target for Jackalope's effect in your deck. So I'm like, you should be playing at least 1 more danger, because these are dark, and if you guys don't know, with Breaksword you get your PKs back as level 4s. That's why I decided to play Mothman. Now you guys could play Nessie, that's why I put it here in the side deck. You guys could play Nessie instead of one of the Mothmans, so you'd play 2 Mothman, 1 Nessie, as well as 1 of each of these. You guys could do that as well. I just decided to play 3 Mothman just because I felt like it was just a little bit more appropriate with a level 4. It doesn't really matter though, I don't think that much changes, but you definitely want to play at least 5 of the dangers. Then for the warrior extenders, you are playing Butter Spy, you're playing Marauding Captain, which is pretty much your best normal summon outside of Armageddon Knight. But even Armageddon Knight, you don't really want a normal summon, you want to get it off Isolde. So I think our Marauding Captain is pretty much your best like normal summon of the deck. You got triple Junk Forward, triple Kage Mucha, and Knight. These are all extenders, so like warrior extender, warrior extender, warrior extender right over here, just to help you make it like turbo out Isolde. And then on top of that, if you guys haven't noticed as well, other than Junk Forward and Marauding Captain, every monster in here is dark, and them being dark, like even the Dark Magician and the freaking Red Eyes is dark. So them being dark makes the Bardiche a lot better and a lot easier to get into pretty much. So that's why Captain as well as Junk Forward, they're the only ones that are not dark, but everything else is dark. So it just helps you turbo Isolde, but also helps you turbo Bardiche out. I am playing double Ash, only double Ash. I just like wanted to fill up 2 spots. I think it's just my OCD that wanted to get to 50 on the dot. I don't want to play more than 50. But on top of that, Ash is only a once per turn, so I didn't really want to play 3 of them. So I decided to just play the 2. I think 2 with Imperm is just really strong. Like, I think this is the best hand trap of the format. The other argument is you could play Veiler if you wanted to, and Veiler's not bad either. I just thought Ash was just a lot more generic. And then you are playing the Dragoons package just because it's so easy to make in this deck. I should mention, I don't think I mentioned it yet, but I should mention that the end boards of this deck is pretty much looking like a Bardiche. So you'll usually have like a Bardiche with a Verte, and then obviously you'll make the Dragoon. So you'll have a Bardiche, Verte, Dragoon, plus like 2 Fog Blades set. And at that point, you pretty much have 2 monster negates right over here with the Fog Blades, as well as an Omni negate with the Red Eye. So the bare minimum board is 3 negates, and it obviously can get a lot better because if you set up a board, let's say that exact same board, but you set it up with like you drawing a Fog Blade, then you can end on triple fog blade, which maybe is a little bit excessive, but the other way you could do it is also if you end up on a rank 4 or a rank 3 play, what can happen is if let's say you make a Dark Rebellion, right? Actually, this is more likely to happen. If you make Dark Rebellion in your combo, you can actually search out the rank up magic launch. And this card I'm not a huge fan of, I'm going to be honest with you, but the reason it's really good is because you can go into Dark Requiem, and Dark Requiem is a monster negate as well if it has Dark Rebellion under it. So you're pretty much always going to be just ranking up Dark Rebellion into Dark Requiem. That's just the only real rank up play you can do. Also, going second can help you OTK. If you guys don't know, like Dark Rebellion effects and Dark Requiem effects can help you OTK. So that's why it's really good, and that's why you play these. I don't know why I'm talking about the extra deck right now, but I just wanted to say that the bare minimum boards are pretty much your Bardiche with your Dragoon and 2 of these, or you can sometimes end on a Bardiche plus like a Dark Requiem and 1 of these, right? So either way, you're having 3 negates on either one of those boards. I am playing 1 Harpy's Feather Duster. You do lose to back row, unfortunately. Not really lose to back row, but obviously you don't like back row, and you can make the argument of playing like Cosmic Cyclones, Lightning Storms, whatever you guys wanted to play, but I just didn't want to put too much space and too much like commitment into back row removal in this deck, and I just thought Harpy Feather Duster, hey, it's at 1, it gets rid of whatever I need to get rid of in the back row, and that's why just 1 Duster I think is perfectly fine. 1 Roto, obviously all Warriors. 1 Foolish Burial. You really send what you want to send with this, to be honest. Most likely it's going to be the PK monsters, but if you for some reason can't get into Armageddonite, you can send the Malicious as well. So that's why Foolish is just really good. It's just an extender. In that point, Monster Reborn is obvious extender. Also turns 2 and turns 3. You can use Monster Reborn to summon back your monsters or your opponent's monsters and go from there. So that's really good. I already explained the rank of magic. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I think it is really good and does come up in a lot of situations. 1 Call by the Grave, I know it's just at 1, but I still play the 1 of. There's no reason for you not to play the 1 of. The reason is 1, yes, it can be used to stop your opponent's hand traps, but also it's really good offensively, where if you go first and you set the card, you can disrupt your opponent on their turn. So that's why Call by the Grave is really good. Obviously, you are playing these 4. Now, these are just equip spells for Isolde, but to be honest, the only one that is kind of like you can switch up is Overdone Burial. Overdone Burial I found was pretty good because you are playing Malicious. It gets Malicious out of your hand if you draw into it. It also gets Mothman out of your hand for a level 3 because a lot of these monsters are level 3. Or if you have like a Dead Butter Spy, you can do this to get a level 3 from your graveyard. So it's kind of like a Monster Reborn in that sense. These are the best 4 though. This could be replaced for Moonmere if you wanted to, or Autonomous Action Unit. That's really up to you. I just like this, but these 3 for sure, you have to play these 3, and then the 4th one is kind of just up to you. 3 Infinite Impermanence is the best hand trap of the format, and it's a literal hand trap, so it can't be called by the grave. Also kind of plays around triple tactical talents because I'm not activating a monster effect. That's why I really wanted to only play 2 Ash, by the way. I just think Imperm at 3 is better than the Ash or Effect Veiler or whatnot. Even though Effect Veiler is really good this format, I still think Imperm is the best. And then you are playing 1 Phantom Knights of Shade Brigandine. I didn't want to play multiple of this because, to be honest, I didn't want to draw it. I just wanted to search into it if I needed it for an extender. Again, I didn't really want to just see this in my hand. I just wanted to get to it when I needed it. And then triple Phantom Knights of Fogblade. Again, this is the best trap in the deck. 3 monster negates right over here. You can end on both of these or 2 of these at least every single turn. If you can make a Bardiche, you have 2 of these. So 1 Bardiche equals 2 negates just off the bat, and then everything else is just extra from there. Then for the extra deck, as you guys can see, I'm only playing 14, and I'll go into reason why I'm only playing 14 in just a minute. But obviously Dragoon, you're playing Dark Requiem for Dark Rebellion, just like I said earlier for the rank up play. 1 Dweller because his deck makes Dweller pretty easily. 1 Break Sword as well as 1 Leviair. Now Leviair is obviously really good to bring back your banished PK monsters, but to be honest with you, like I noticed that a lot of the time, all of these cards are kind of, well, Break Sword is you kind of really want to play. Leviair is kind of like not mandatory, it's just utility. So you can even take this out. And the reason I have these Xyz monsters in over here is because I'm like, yo, you know what? Sometimes maybe you can play these instead. They're all kind of situational, up to what you guys want to play. Grand Pulse is really good. It pops back row. A lot of people like to argue to play a second Break Sword. So if you wanted to play a second Break Sword, go ahead. I really like Nightmare as well because it's pretty much a double Book of Moon on your opponent's turn. But then on top of that, you can rank up the rank 3s into this because it's a dark. So it kind of gives you a second rank up option. And then you can play Nightmare Shark because this card is kind of like cheeky. Games 2, games 3, you can steal wins from your opponent just because you can attack directly with this card. And then if you're just up on life points, so it's really up to you what the last 2 cards is. I like to play this, but then it's really up to you. Like you guys can technically do it this way as well if you wanted to. It's really up to you what the 15 cards is. Here are just some good options that you guys can play. But the Link monsters I definitely would not change at all. Boral Sword for sure. You can make this easily going second in OTK. Apollo is also really good when they stop a lot of your plays. Sometimes you can just end on an Apollo for a 2 to 3 negate Apollo, which is kind of good just because it's just that backup option that you got. 1 Unicorn, obviously an IP play, also just Unicorns is really good. Bardiche, obviously, thank God it's back at 1. Phoenix, Isolde, Heart and Soul of the deck, you always just want to make Isolde going first. And then IP is another card that I really like, because even though you're going to be making Verte more than IP a lot of the time, IP is really good where in situations if you draw the Red Eyes Fusion, you can't really use the Verte there. So what ends up happening is you just make the IP instead, and then instead of making like a Verte Dragoon play, you still kind of end on the same board, but you'll end on like an IP plus another monster, so you can go into like Unicorn on your opponent's turn. I should also mention that because you have Phoenix Blade, you always have a card in hand for Dragoon, so make sure to use the Phoenix Blade effect before you end your turn, because this way you'll always have a free card to discard for Dragoon, something that you'll never neg off of, because once this card is back in your hand for Dragoon, you send it to the graveyard, you can add it right back to your hand later for like an IP or Unicorn play right over there, because Unicorn obviously you discard a card. So this card obviously is just really good in a lot of senses, because it makes it so that you have readily available cards in your hand to get rid of with for Dragoon or for like the IP into Unicorn play. So thank you guys for watching this video. Again, if you guys enjoy these post Banlist deck profiles, make sure to let me know by liking this video and subscribing to the channel. If you guys have any suggestions to make or that you would make to this deck, of course I want to know. I've been testing this deck. This is how I feel comfortable with it on it right now. But again, it's not like I'm playing this deck every single day. It's not like I know every single in and out of this deck. So if you guys have any suggestions, obviously let me know. This is just kind of like a framework of what a deck should look like. But if you guys have any changes that you can make or cool plays, I want to know in the comment section down below. That's how we learn. That's how I learn. That's how the entire Spanko community is going to learn. So let me know in the comment section down below. And again, if you guys liked this video, make sure to like. The goal is 5,000 for the end of 2020, so make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And with that, guys, Spanko signing out. Peace.
My hands steady, I feel ready, but my legs heavy, I don't get it. How come I haven't hit it already? Still working, I'm still learning, I'm still searching, finally earning something, finally turning something called a profit. If I hear you talking shit, don't get caught in it. I'll be popping off and hit your ass, dropping all your shit. Yeah, I promise this, I got promises, you ain't stopping this. Cross my shit.